Okay, so I think I'm going to get started here. And let's switch that, please. Awesome. Okay, so we'll get started here. This is the Amazon Marketing and Best Practices and Trends webinar. My name is Riley Grubb. I'm a paid media specialist here at Anvil Media. I primarily specialize in both paid search, display, paid social, and Amazon advertising. We're currently working with a host of different clients across a range of different verticals. In the past, I've worked with different clients whose main focus was primarily selling products on Amazon across different food industries, as well as the automobile industry, as well as some B2B type clients as well. So I have quite a bit of experience running Amazon advertising campaigns, as well as providing recommendations and consulting services around optimizing your whole presence on Amazon, so your overall brand health, your product listings, as well as your brand pages. So today we're really going to focus, Amazon is a very large monolith of marketing services offered, advertising services offered, as well as just, maintaining your whole brand on Amazon is probably more than just a one-person full-time job. There's quite a lot of facets at play here. So today we're really going to stick to covering Amazon product pages or product description pages, as well as advertising campaigns. So I'll start off, we're going to go through a quick agenda. We'll start off on kind of quick basics on kind of first steps to take in order to start selling on Amazon, and kind of some recommended first steps on what to sign up for, what to avoid, what are really the big things to focus on for new sellers getting onto the Amazon platform. And then we'll go through kind of the full details of a product description page or product detail page. So that'll include kind of best practices around product images, titles, descriptions, product features, as well as keywords. And then we'll pivot over into actually advertising on Amazon and go through the different campaign types available to new sellers, as well as some additional campaign types that require Amazon brand registry enrollment. So getting started selling on Amazon, this is kind of how I typically advise my clients on if they are brand new to the platform, at least for selling on the platform. These are kind of the first steps to take. The first one is going to be enrolling in Amazon Seller Central, which is Amazon's kind of overall seller platform. This provides a whole suite of different tools around your managing your inventory, your shipping information, managing your brand health, so things like customer reviews, and as well as like some of your metrics that are tied to shipping and logistic information. So making sure, Amazon will track to make sure that your orders are being shipped on time, are being received by your customers on time, as well as defective rates, things like that. Those are a really big component of Amazon Seller Central, is just maintaining your overall brand health, and it will getting those things right is critical for every step of this journey that we're going to discuss. So maintaining kind of your overall inventory, as well as your overall brand health within Seller Central, definitely trickles down to how well your advertising campaigns are, or how effective your advertising campaigns are, as well as what features you're able to utilize on the Amazon platform. So once enrolled in Amazon Seller Central, the next step for any new seller is going to be developing your product detail pages. So those are going to be the actual product pages for each one of your specific products. Effective product detail pages are probably the biggest factor in a seller's success on Amazon, outside of any additional paid media or advertising efforts. Product detail, aka product listings, or ASIN pages, there's a lot of different terms that are describing the same thing. Those contain both your titles, your images, your description, your product feature list, and your keywords. Those are kind of the main components of a product description page. There are some other secondary components as well, but those really are the main ones that have the biggest effect on both advertising, your overall marketing, and your presence on Amazon. And then third thing I typically advise all new sellers on Amazon is to enroll in Amazon brand registry if they are eligible. So Amazon has a whole suite of additional tools and products they refer to as Amazon brand registry, or that gets you access to all this whole new suite of products. And what that requires is you have to have an active and registered trademark, either a text trademark or an image-based trademark for your brand or product specifically. And that has to be active within whatever country you're currently selling in. So you have to have that registered with the U.S. Trademark Office if you're selling in the United States. I have seen some issues with brand registry for some new clients on Amazon. You have to make sure your brand, first of all, is registered, but then also is differentiated enough to where it can't be confused by typical shoppers with like a generic brand or another brand. So the example that I've seen, I guess I'll throw out there, is if you are a company that manufactures and sells, say, coffee tables, if your brand name is, Coffee Tables Plus, for example, that might be difficult to be granted enrollment into Amazon's brand registry because your product name or your brand name might not be differentiated enough within the category that you're in. So that's just one kind of thing I'll throw out there because I have seen some some sellers on Amazon run into issues we've had in the past. And it sometimes does require a rebranding, which is never fun. That's kind of a lot of work to go through. But for most all sellers out there that have a registered trademark, whether it's a text or image-based trademark with the U.S. Trademark Office, should have no issues registering or enrolling in Amazon brand registry. Once you are enrolled, that actually unlocks a whole suite of additional tools and advertising campaigns available to you. Most importantly, perhaps, is Amazon's feature they call A+ content. That allows sellers to develop really fully fleshed out Amazon brand pages, featuring rich text, images, and videos, more like kind of a full-on web page available to you where you can kind of code it up however you see fit, and you can play around with different placements of images, videos, text in different fonts and sizes, colors. It's basically a whole web design suite available to you. Without brand registry, those store pages are pretty, you're restricted to a pretty isolated template where you can put information around your brand or your products in that brand page, but you don't have a lot of the features available to like upload videos or high quality images to your actual brand page. So, in building brand awareness and brand loyalty, that Amazon A+ content feature is a huge asset. It also, in addition to the A+ content, it also will unlock additional advertising campaign types. So we'll discuss 3 different advertising campaign types today. The 3 being sponsored product campaigns, sponsored brand campaigns, and sponsored display campaigns. For all new sellers out of the gate, sponsored product campaigns are available to all sellers virtually. However, sponsored brand campaigns and sponsored display campaigns are only available to sellers enrolled in Amazon's brand registry. There are some additional campaign types as well that I'm not going to discuss so much today, but those additional campaign types are things like audio ads or using Amazon's DSP, their demand side platform for programmatic advertising. Those are also behind that gate of requires Amazon brand registry enrollment. So we'll get into actually constructing our product detail pages or our product listing pages, product ASIN pages, whatever you want to call them. So we'll go through kind of best practices and what's required around all of the assets within that incorporate a product details page. So starting off with just product images. I mean, this is probably the first thing you see, when you click on a product link on Amazon, is obviously the main product image. And it's probably definitely the most eye-catching and where most users typically go to first when they open up product detail pages, just to the images. 62% of the top Amazon product listings contain at least 5 separate images. So I would definitely be sure that you have an assortment of high quality creative to choose from before building your listings. I've seen that's a typical pitfall that a lot of new sellers run into, is only uploading like a single image or maybe 2 images of their product. And the strategy here in selecting products can vary depending on what vertical or what product category you're in, especially when it comes to like food products. Food products kind of have their own set of best practices around your product images. So the first image or your main image should be a close-up photo of your product. Photos of the product in its packaging may be a better fit for some product categories, where if shoppers are typically accustomed to seeing the product in its packaging, and that's really kind of the eye-catching appeal of the product, I would definitely include it in the packaging as well as outside the packaging in secondary photos. The main image must be a photograph. This is another big thing. no renderings are allowed in the main images or any of the images really you upload to a product listing. They have to be photographs. I've seen sellers run into this issue where they had design services and with some outside firm that developed full renderings of their products or product packaging. Amazon is very good at detecting what's a real photograph and what is not. So that is a big thing, that your images will be rejected if they're not actual photographs, and they must be on a plain white background. That's another thing. They can't be on gray background or black background. It has to be just plain white, and that will instantly get kicked back to you when trying to upload if it's not meeting that criteria. Some general best practices around selecting and uploading images to your product description pages. Really be sure to select images that are optimized for mobile devices. So that requires basically a little bit of testing, is making sure the image appears correctly on mobile, that it's not cropped, that you can see the entire image, as well as the resolution is viewable just as the same quality on mobile as it is desktop. I have seen a few cases in the past where sellers are uploading images that look great on desktop or laptops, but when you look at it on mobile, it actually looks cropped a bit. Unfortunately, I haven't found really a perfect solution to this other than just testing it yourself. Though Amazon does provide some specific specs around images, but for the most part, they can support pretty much any image you upload as long as it's a fairly high resolution. Also, be sure to include multiple viewpoint photos of the product. If you're selling a food product specifically, it's especially important that you include a photo of the nutritional information on the back of the packaging. That is almost a required feature for most food products, and Amazon will separately designate that as the nutritional information photo. Also be sure that the product is framed in the center of the image and takes up about 80% of the space of the image. This is more of a best practice as opposed to a must, but I have seen multiple sellers that are uploading images where they're just too zoomed out and you can't really see the full detail of the product image. And that's going to be detrimental for your just overall visibility on the platform. If a shopper scrolling through a list of products available and they only see, or they see your product with a really zoomed out image where they can't see much detail, you're not going to get nearly the click-through rate or the sales that you would with a proper image. I would also recommend including photos with relevant ingredient lists, nutritional facts, or major warning labels. That mostly applies to food products, obviously, but there's other products that comes into play with as well. Things like choking hazards, that's probably worth including a photo of, or any type of major warning label, any sort of type of dangerous ingredients or anything like that. Anything that really could cause concern for any type of shopper, there should be a photo including that as well. Some additional best practices on your images. Recommend you include images of products in use or being prepared. This applies to some products more so than others, but if there is like a major use case of the product, the example I used here was one of Amazon Echo products, their video product. You can see they have multiple photos of the product actually in use, like sitting on a nightstand, sitting on a little table with the family watching it. Oftentimes this can lead to well, first of all, it demonstrates the use case of your product without even, reading a product feature list, which is great. But then it also can provide users with additional, like rather than just seeing, 5 or 6 photos of just different angles of the same product, kind of mixing that up, which drives more engagement, more clicks on different photos, which in turn will raise your overall performance of that product listing. Definitely include images showing everything that comes included with the product. So things like, charging cables, batteries, or any type of secondary accessories that come included in the box. Absolutely make that clear, or have at least one image showing every item that's included. Also, Amazon allows up to 9 images within a product listing. That can vary a bit depending on some product categories. There's a few different product categories that do allow more, but for the most part, 9 is the limit. Though they do recommend 5 to 6 is generally generally considered best practice. Too many images, I think you're kind of just being cluttered at that point. And then too few images, you'll probably see a drop in overall performance on your product listing pages. So, less people actually coming to the pages. Also, be sure to include alt text for all the images on the product listing pages. Amazon incorporates those image alt texts in their search algorithm. So if someone is searching on Google for, whatever is appearing actually in your alt text, you have a chance actually of ranking there in organic search results on Google just based off of the text in your alt text for each image. So moving over to product titles. A product title along with the main image is the first thing potential customers see when discovering a product on Amazon. You can see here I listed 3 product titles, and these are all Amazon branded products. So I typically like to use Amazon branded products as examples because they obviously know their best practices better than anyone. So you can kind of use them as a rough guide. Obviously, it's going to be a little different because Amazon branded products are generally in the tech space. So this would be a great kind of template to use if you're selling, other tech-related products. For other product categories, there can be a little bit different best practices around what should be included here in your product title. Product title should typically start with your brand name, or it could be the product line, which would be like underneath the brand name. It kind of depends on your kind of overall business strategy. If you have an overarching brand with different product lines, I would probably stick with the product line first, followed by the brand name in the product title. The big thing here to keep in mind for product titles is the first 5 words of your product title make up what's called your canonical URL. So that will actually be the text that appears in the URL of the product description page, just those 5 words. And that does make a pretty large impact on your SEO performance. So because those terms are actually in the URL, you want to make sure within those 5 words, you're either calling out the main product name, the product line name, and or the brand name. At least one, most likely 2 of those 3 components should be included in the first 5 words. Also, a big thing here is to avoid keyword stuffing your titles. I've seen a lot of sellers on Amazon try to do that. It generally doesn't work out well, and there's better places to actually add in additional keywords on a product description page as opposed to in the title. The recommended length for a product title is typically between 50 and 80 characters, and this can require a little bit of testing to make viewing your product description pages on different platforms, so like on your mobile device compared to a desktop, to make sure it's not being truncated. But typically between 50 and 80 characters is that sweet spot of not being too short and not providing enough content or description around the product, and not being too long, providing kind of unnecessary details or too much keyword stuffing. Product title should be start with the brand name or product line name, like I said, then typically followed by that product name and, if applicable, the quantity included. So this will more likely come into cases where if you're selling like a pack or a multi-pack of something, or if there's other listings of that product or similar products on Amazon that are selling multi-packs. So even if you're selling a single product, but there's other similar type products that are selling it in bundles or multi-packs, it can be beneficial to list your quantity at the towards the end of your product name or product title. They should also contain high-value keywords relevant to the product, but I would recommend kind of being cautious here. Like I said, keyword stuffing is typically not a great strategy here, but you can see like this Amazon example for Amazon Halo towards the bottom here, measure activity, sleep, body composition, and tone of voice. That's a very good example of using high-quality or high-value keywords in your product title without stuffing too many in there. Definitely also avoid using any type of competitor name here. I think Amazon will actually oftentimes deny your product listing if you have any sort of competitor brand names. Like, do not say better than competitor name. That is definitely not acceptable here. So into product descriptions. This is where you can get the most creativity in a product listing or a product details page. The example here in this screenshot is a standard product description without being enrolled in Amazon brand registry. If you take a look at like any Amazon branded product for sale on Amazon right now, those all have A+ content product descriptions, and basically they'll be full rich text, images, and videos included there. They will look more like a fully designed, fleshed out web page as opposed to just a block of text for the product description. So here's what it will look without being enrolled in brand registry. So for new sellers, brand registry, like I mentioned before, does require an enrollment process, and that process can take a few weeks, if not like a month or so. So you can, brand new sellers to the platform are probably going to be using just this templated product description feature as opposed to A+ content when they're starting out. Descriptions are a pretty valuable tool for informing potential customers around the benefits of your products and its advantages over similar products they might be considering. This is where you can get a lot more creative in comparing it to other competitor products, but also kind of discussing the key advantages of the product. For as far as product features, we'll get that to the second. This is more of a story form content block as opposed to a bullet point list of features. So I'd recommend avoiding any types of bullet points in the actual product description, but kind of telling a little bit of longer form story, calling out some of the main use cases or benefits of the product. So like I mentioned, yeah, that A+ content feature really expands this section of your product page greatly. You can have, multiple very long product descriptions that, are 3 or 4 folds deep onto the page, incorporating videos, rich text, as well as additional images. I would, if you are eligible for Amazon Brand Registry, I would absolutely recommend enabling A+ content and developing A+ content pages for each one of your at least main products, if not all the products you're selling. Those A+ content product detail pages can result in higher conversion rates, increased traffic, and increased sales when they're used effectively. More best practices here around your actual product description. Some tips here is going to be describing how your product can help your customers. How can it make their lives easier? So less so the actual features of the product, but like use cases or really main benefits to the customers of the product. Also describe the product's functionality. And I did a list feature here. There's a separate section of a product details page specifically for features, but you can describe the features in more of kind of a conversation or long form content style, as opposed to just listing them off. Also only include information that is relevant around this specific product. And I say this when brands are offering a product and then with additional accessories around the product. I typically would say, try to avoid those additional accessories or calling out any of the functionality of those accessories and stick to what actually this product is and its functionality. Also ensure the product description matches the product images. So don't have describe any features of the product that aren't necessarily being used in the product images. Also avoid any quotes or testimonials or in this section in the product description. There's better use cases for those quotes and testimonials here. It really doesn't add much to your product description and its effectiveness. All right, so next is product features. So this is really just a bullet point section of your product features. This is the ideal place to describe every important feature about your product and how it distinguishes it from the competition. The maximum length of each one of these bullet points does vary from category to category. Unless otherwise restricted, Amazon does recommend about 200 characters per bullet point feature here. And the main reason it's 200 characters, Amazon currently ranks only the first 1,000 characters of these bullet point feature lists. So with 5 features, 200 times 5, that's 1,000. Anything beyond that, you're welcome to use. However, it's not going to be crawled essentially by Amazon for SEO purposes. So definitely work on kind of optimizing what features are most important. Even maybe A/B testing if you have multiple products in the same in similar SKUs. A/B testing between those product pages, your list of features, or the order of those features, the way that they're listed. Some best practices here around product features. Focus each bullet point on a single important feature of the product. Consider utilizing some any high value keywords that are not already included in the product title. So that's a way to avoid products keyword stuffing, is to actually use, instead of putting those keywords in the product title, push them down to in the product feature section. I would also avoid using any type of ingredient lists, safety information, or any other information that does not directly relate to the main features of the product. That can probably either go in, most likely in the product description section, as well as potentially in your images if it's like a major warning label or ingredient. All right, so the last major component of product detail pages we're going to cover is product keywords. So product keywords, along with your titles and features, are the main variable that affects your product's paid and organic ranking on Amazon. So this is actually a major component that Amazon will crawl and to use in their algorithms to compare your product against other products in that category, as well as for SEO purposes as well, like for Google search results. So product keywords can be added to the product descriptions in the search terms field on the last tab of the build/edit product listing page. So these are actually not publicly facing. Product keywords exist only on the back end of a product details page under a thing called search terms. So this is where you can add in additional keywords for, okay, if a user on Amazon is searching for the specific term, I would like my product to be eligible to show up. Obviously, I would treat, if it's a really high value keyword, have that in your title before adding it to your search terms. This is more like secondary type keywords. You could also double up and put them in both. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But this is kind of, as far as tiered list of where to place high valued keywords, it should be title first, features next, and then product keywords or search terms last. Some best practices here is going to be optimize the product for organic ranking by including not only top keywords in the product title and features list, but also include any additional related keywords that users may search for. Also use brand competitor keywords by reviewing their product pages and identify additional product keywords that may also apply to your product. Also, it's a good practice to get into is to include common misspellings, abbreviations, or alternate terms to your product or brand or overall product category for that matter, as well as include some like longer tailed keywords that may not fit into your product title or feature list, which are effective in expanding the reach of your advertising campaigns. So these would be kind of like best coffee tables for living rooms. I know I mentioned coffee tables earlier. That would be like a longer tailed keyword that you could include here in the search terms. Okay, so I've only got a few minutes left here, so I'll quickly go through Amazon advertising campaign types available to all sellers as well as sellers just in brand registry. So we'll start off with kind of the main advertising campaign type on Amazon, and that is sponsored product campaigns. Sponsored product campaigns are available to all sellers and vendors. There's really no restrictions here on who can run them. You just need to be signed up with Amazon Seller Central. So these are cost per click ads promoting single product pages targeted to users across Amazon. Ads can be targeted either by keyword or by target product. So you can actually select related products or competitor products to target by. So what that would do is show ads to users searching for those other products or users that have visited those other products. You have the option of either choosing manual or automatic targeting. By automatic, it'll basically crawl your list of your titles and features and search keywords and bid on what's already listed there. By doing it manually, you actually can select your target keywords by either an exact match keyword, phrase match keyword, or broad match keyword. If you're familiar with Google search ads at all, or any type of search advertising, this is going to be pretty familiar to you. These operate kind of similarly to Google search campaigns, where you're actually bidding on target keywords in a specific match type, so exact, phrase, or broad match, and then measuring results based off of the specific cost per click, CPM, cost per impressions, as well as your advertising cost of sales for each keyword or product. Ads for our sponsored product ads typically appear above organic listings in search result pages, as well as in the right column. So in this example here, you can see these. If you art of SEO was the search term here at the top, and the first two you see here, you have that little sponsored label there. That indicates they're actually sponsored product ads, and those will appear typically above the actual organic product listings. Ad performance for sponsored product ads, and really most of all these ad campaigns we're going to discuss today is measured by cost per click, as well as the main one, advertising cost of sales, which is essentially just a return on ad spend metric, but kind of in reverse, that Amazon typically uses for all their ad campaigns. Sponsored brands. So sponsored brand campaigns do require sellers to be enrolled in Amazon Brand Registry. These act pretty similarly to sponsored product campaigns, but rather than promoting a single product with just that product listing, this actually promotes either a overall brand page via a carousel of their product offerings, or some select products of a brand page, or just the brand page itself. So this options for ad creative include product collection ads, where it's like a carousel of different ads, a store spotlight, where you can see just what the stores, like their top selling products are, or a video ad around the whole brand itself. And these can either link directly to the brand store page or specific individual product pages. So it's kind of a hybrid between sponsored product ads. They operate kind of like that as well, but then also for really promoting the brand overall, and also push users toward the brand page, the brand store page. Like I said, it does require Amazon Brand Registry, which even if it didn't, I probably wouldn't run these type of campaigns, because you're trying to drive users to your brand store page, and you want that to be as most attractive as possible. Also, similarly to sponsored products, these are targeted by either keyword or by target product. So that's either similar products or other products or competitor products, or by target. You're manually targeting keywords. Also have the option to do automatic targeting for sponsored brand campaigns, the same way you do for sponsored product campaigns. These ads are measured in the same aspect as sponsored product campaigns, where you're looking at cost per click typically, and your advertising cost of sales. Sponsored display campaigns, these ones are quite a bit different. This also requires enrollment in Amazon Brand Registry. The big difference here is that where the ads show up. So sponsored display campaigns have the ability to serve to users both on and off Amazon, so that they can serve impressions on websites across the web, any website enrolled with Amazon's demand side platform, which is a lot of websites out there, as well as social platforms. So the most common case as a shopper, you'll probably see these is if you're browsing on Amazon, you view a product details page, you don't buy it, and then you're scrolling through Facebook the next day or a couple hours later, and you see a Facebook ad for that product you were looking at. That is an example of a sponsored display ad in Amazon. So they'll